Renatta, what's going on?
Hi, Rich.
How was you? How was your weekend?
Good. Working.
What? Always, right? With what? The chickens, the horses, the dogs?
No, real estate. Trying to end the year with a bang.
Real estate. That's awesome. Been looking forward to this conversation.
Thank you.
I love bumping into you. I'm always usually asking you for favors in the office. So I was always curious about, let's get right down to this, about you. Like, you're interesting, right? Like, in really good ways, I think. I think you're really structured, really established, and you brought a lot of structure and all of that to Rafael's team. How did this all begin? Like, where did you come from? Where'd you start? Like, what happened? Tell me about you.
Well, if you would have told me 12 years ago that I was going to be a real estate agent, I probably would have laughed in your face. I went to school for creative things. I was a marketing major and a film major. And
where'd you go to school?
I went to FIT,
Nice.
and I went to the New York Film Academy at UCLA.
Okay.
So I was a TV producer for about 15 years. And prior to my son being born, for the first 5 years, he was able to either be with me, or his father or my mom would take him to wherever I was shooting, and I could spend time with him because TV is, a short day is 18 hours.
Wow. And they allowed him on the set?
Yes, because I was high enough where he could come in and out. Like, that was the good thing, that I was a producer, so I was able to have him on set. Once he turned around 6, and we realized he was very smart and that I couldn't be pulling him out of school, his father and I were separating, and we were like, you know what? I don't want to have a teacher on set with me because that's not what he chose to do. So it wasn't fair. I want him to have a normal childhood. So I decided to leave LA, and then got separated, came to New York, and my sister, who is a writer, and she was back from India because she lived there as a writer for about 2 years, and she was in New York in the Keller Williams NYC. Okay. And she was a high luxury rental agent. And she was like, hey, can you help me market this? And I was like, okay, because I didn't know anything else. The job I've had was working in production. And she was like, hey, you have a marketing degree, you're good at this. Can you make me a flyer, whatever? Next thing I know, I'm opening doors for her. And then 7 months later, she goes, I think it's time for you to get your license. And I was like, okay. So we created the team, the Merca sisters, and then it became the Real Sisters at NYC, at Keller Williams NYC.
Are you still doing production work, though?
No, I do not, but I do it in other ways. Okay. I do. I have a wedding venue in Ecuador, and now we do concerts. So I need to be creative. So I go off over there. I do a concert. I've done so far 4, and we do either local artists or we start trying to fly in independent contractors to come do the concerts. So that's my way to be creative, because with real estate, it's kind of limited, but I like to lead in real estate. So
I'm not going to ask you who or what you produced unless you want to tell that, but what stations were you on? Like, what TV stations?
So I was mainly with NBC as an independent contractor. So I did shows like The Apprentice. I did about 6 seasons. I did the only Martha Stewart Apprentice. Then I moved over to The Voice. I did Make Me a Supermodel. Those were my main 3 gigs. Remember, I had a little one, so I couldn't go do Survivor. I couldn't do all those, the ones that you had to travel really far. But I was mainly either a producer or a casting director for The Voice.
Oh, so it was reality TV.
It was mainly, yes. It started off with independent films, and then I got hooked into reality TV because you don't have a lot of independent movies in New York. You have more reality TV. So it was more steady.
Interesting. What do you just to stay on that for a minute, like sometimes I'm fascinated with reality TV, especially in the real estate world, because I don't get it.
Right.
Right. And I'm still trying to understand it. And, we've been approached in all different angles. What's the glamour behind all of this reality TV? Like, in your opinion, like, why is it so popular?
Well, I think when it started with The Real World, I think that was the most authentic. Yeah, I think that was. I want to say that's actually made it into mainstream.
Okay.
That was more real. After that, it became, because I wasn't part of the creative part of it. I was more logistics when it came to TV. Like, I was making everything happen. And when you would hear the story producers, like, oh, but so-and-so said this, it's like they're guiding the story. There's no scripts. And people just want to see into other people's lives what they think it's real. Like, even The Voice wasn't real. There was no such thing as blind auditions. We would see thousands of people, and they would be like, oh, she's good, but she doesn't have a good backstory. Or they will have a really good backstory, but they wouldn't be good singers, but just the fact that their mom just died or something major. So nothing about reality TV is
reality.
real. No. Mm-mm.
It's because it's interesting. That's what I thought. I've heard stories like in the real estate world where you got agents acting as buyers and so on. So I was wondering why is that allowed to go on reality TV if it's reality TV?
Well, people, that's what sells.
Correct.
I mean, I've had people who've been in reality TV shows, like the Pussycat Dolls, one of my really good friends, she was in it, but she wasn't a dramatic person. She was very talented, but because she didn't bring drama to the show, she got disqualified. So it's like you need to keep people engaged, and that's what reality TV sells.
So I think I'll be eliminated. Like,
Oh
right
no,
away.
you'll definitely be. You'll be fine.
It's be interesting. And then, all right, so you leave the reality TV world. You come into real estate with your sis, forming a team. Take me through that process.
So we were a
Take the test.
So I took the test. We were high-end rentals. So we did, I think our highest rental was about, I want to say $34,000 a month.
Wow.
It was right across the street, Central Park. And I did really well with her for about, I want to say 4 years. But this is the thing. I was a mom. And I had to do the drive every day back and forth. And I had to come home and be a mom, take the kid to soccer, take the kid to all these things. And my sister was all around the clock, like high producer. And she didn't understand. I was like, hey, I can't go right now. I have to do something. Like, I got to do something for my kid. It was becoming stressful. And it was ruining the relationship. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to step away. And I was petrified. I'm not going to lie. I was like, all I know how to do is TV and this, but it was guided by my sister. And I was like, can I do this alone? I mean, 12 years ago, I'm not the person that I am today, like for sure. So after talking to my best friend, my mom was not happy about it. She's like, no, you got to stay with your sister. She's going to guide you. Mm-hmm. And I answered an ad on Craigslist.
So what year was your sister?
So that was 2012 until and then 4 years later. So, and then I've been with Rafael.
Before I bought it.
Yes. Oh, yes. I was. You were not there when I was in Keller Williams NYC. Right. Yes. So then I just answered the ad, and Rafael responded. He had an assistant at the time, and he goes, I never respond my ads, but something about you said, let me call her. And he did. Now, this was the thing. All my deals were being put through my sister, right? So he had no numbers to go by. He's like, but he didn't care about that. Our team is about integrity, transparency, who you are as a person. Because I can teach you how to be a good agent. I can't teach you to be a good person. And we've had a lot of people who've come through our doors who were shady, not team players. That's not what we're looking for. We take the KPA very seriously, and we have a lot of interviews before somebody comes in.
So Julia's going to get mad at me if I don't do this. What's the KPA?
So it's not a personality. It's not like if you're smart or how much you know. It's more of a personality assessment to see where in a real estate office, because it could be staff or it could be a producing agent, what are your strong suits, right? So it will tell you if you could be a mega agent, if you can be a leader, whatever it is. So we go by that. However, if you speak another language, it's not as accurate. So it's a 4-day process where we verify that, and it's very stressful.
And I know you guys, Rafael, of course, doesn't recruit select. Not recruit select now. It's what is it called now? Well, it's like a recruit select where they teach them how to do that.
Yeah. So we go to career visioning.
Career visioning, thank you.
The 3 leaders in the team go to that. I've done it twice. I need to do it again. He's done it like 7 times because every time you go, you learn something new. So I want to keep on being. It's so hard to find good agents. I can't even tell you. People think that I just open doors and get fat checks. Yeah. And the amount of people that I've sent out the KPA, and they're like, they don't even finish it. Like, I can't. This is really? You can't even do the test? So right there, it tells me a lot about a person. But so I answered his ad, and he interviewed me. I was like, come on, like another interview. And we just spoke the same language. He was a family man. He understood that I had a child and that I had to, be home and be at Little League and all that. So at the first interview, he asked me, he goes, this is what I want to do. And it was like a whole pyramid of like the positions. He goes, where would you like to be? And I was like, I want to be the lead buyer's agent. 8 months later, I was his lead buyer's agent.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. And then, so you take let's go back to the KPA a second. You take the KPA, you pass the KPA, well, not pass the KPA, you guys fit, you match, and he does it right where he puts you where you're looking to go in a KPA because, and again, the KPA is 20% accurate. Exactly. Well, not accurate, I mean 20% where it matters with the hire, in my opinion, what I've learned. and then it's all the rest. But that 20% is so much too, because it gets it started with the relationship. It's also you learning about what his KPI is about too, right?
Yep.
Because you went over that, I'm sure, with Rafael. So when you take that KPI and you get going, what else did you notice in the KPI? What else did you need to hire from that? Like when you looked at your position, I want to be that lead buyer's agent. What was next then? Were you already looking at that, or you just said, okay, let's just make this work first, and then we'll get our next hire?
So then we were getting so many leads that I got burnt out. And I was like, Rafael, I need help. I was getting about 20 leads a day.
Wow.
And Rafael, I cannot stress this enough, he is an amazing mentor. If Rafael told me, stand on your head and make calls, I would have stand on my head and make calls, because whatever he said worked. I trusted him. And I can tell you that I learned more in the first 6 months with him than I did with my sister in 4 years. That's because he literally sat there with me every morning at a cafe saying, okay, these are the leads you got. What happened? What did they say? And he broke it down, every single lead, why it worked and why it didn't work. Because as you know, we concentrate a lot on co-ops. And co-ops, everybody's scared of them. And I didn't know at that time. I didn't know that they were so difficult, that it was so bad and nobody wanted them. So I just went in and learned everything he knew. And after he did that, they were like, okay, you need help. And then we started looking for buyer's agents. And to this day, we're still looking for buyer's agents. We need about 11 for next year.
Wow.
To hit our numbers. Like,
What are your numbers since you brought that up?
we want to do, I believe it's 264 transactions, if
I
I'm
believe
not
that's right.
mistaken.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So
what he said to me.
in order to do that, I need 11 buyer's agents under me.
11 buyer's agents.
Yeah.
How about listing agents? And
He handles the listing side. He's still not only the rainmaker. He has to still get lead listing agents, and he has somebody who helps him make the outbound calls and goes with him, but he doesn't have strictly a listing agent.
Oh, he
he's
doesn't have
he's not ready to give that up yet. He doesn't need to, because he can handle it still.
so now do you run the buyer's agents for your
Only
team?
the
Like-
buyer side, yeah. So I help. I want to say, not to toot my own horn, but I want to say that probably 90% of the systems are in the buyer side were created because for me. Because if you know the disc, I'm a high DC. So even though I can be very direct, but I need systems. That's what I'm good at.
That's interesting. And is that what he needed?
He needed that. Oh, yeah.
Desperately,
he needed
right?
structure because he's a high DI, so he doesn't pay attention too much to the details. To me, it depends what type of details it is. But him, he needs it. Like, okay, we were all over the place.
You guys clash?
No.
Really? Even
Not
with
at
the
all.
C?
Not at all.
Usually me and C's don't get along.
Really?
And it's funny, but my GM, Lauren, obviously, she's a C.
A high C?
Yeah?
Really?
I say.
No. But see, it's
We work
weird.
well together, though.
See, there you go. So you can't really clash with them. If somebody's a high C, they might move too slow for me. They might
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, not clash, I guess. It's too slow.
Yeah, because you're a high D, duh,
Right.
right? So when I have high CS's clients, I have to hand them over to somebody else who has more patience.
Yes.
Because they're like, I want the numbers, and you give me charts, and you send me spreadsheets. I'm like, I'm not doing all of that. I'm like, pick the house or not. Like, you like it or not.
Yeah, that's how I am. Yeah. Got 3 shots. If you
Oh
don't-
my God, yes.
It's amazing to me
Yeah.
how people could sit there me and Jeannie used to go nuts. Oh, I used to go nuts. 8 months into the freaking buyer, and then, and then I remember her saying to me at one point, they closed something after 9 months, and she said, now, how would have you felt if that went somewhere else?
That's true. That's true.
And I was like, probably good, because I wouldn't have wasted my first 8 months.
But you know what the tip is there, and I learned thanks to my MAPS coach, is that I set the expectations in my buyer's concentration. And this is true. I say, my buyers find a house within the first 3 to 4 times me showing them. And I'll show you 3 homes. And after the 4th time, if we haven't found a house, we're going to sit down and talk about it. Because if you haven't picked a house, then there's something not right.
I'm not doing my job right.
I made the mistake of once showing a family 50 homes,
50.
and I will never do that again. And they didn't pick a house. They went MIA afterwards. So I was like, I was very upset. But you know what? From every mistake I make, silver lining. So now I know I have to nail my buyer's consultation because and I will pick up red flags. I'm like, they have to be ready, willing, and able. And those 3 boxes have to be checked. Otherwise, I'm not taking you out.
Good.
Yeah.
You have to have standards, right?
Yeah, of course,
So-
of course.
How long you with Rafael?
I'm going on 6 years, I believe.
Take me through, if you don't mind, take me through the process with him, because he's an interesting cat too. I love him to death.
Yes.
He's amazing. I remember the first meeting I had with him. We were at a Giant game, and we were talking about this earlier. the chicken farm. Telling him about his chicken farm. I was just sitting there. I was like amazed about that conversation. Talking about eggs at a Giant game. He's telling me the difference between brown eggs
Yes.
and white eggs. And there's no difference.
Yeah, there's no difference.
Just the color of the chicken.
Yep.
And I was like, wow. I always thought that had more protein in
Yeah.
it. So,
That's true.
but he's an interesting character, right? In good ways. Year one, hard, tough, amazing. And I know you're going to say amazing because it's Rafael, but what was it like year one working with somebody brand new, coming out of the TV world, going to your sister? Now you're starting a team with somebody that is not family. Mm-hmm. What's it like?
Well, we were guerrilla style, and not just, it was making mistakes and fixing them. And we learned, like, my agents are very lucky now because we have structure. But when me and him started, it was like, let's wing it. Neither one of us knew what we were doing in the sense of team-wise. So as the year started, I was like, okay, this has to be, I need to come up with a system for everything. And we did. But it was nice. It wasn't amazing, but it was an amazing learning experience.
So funny you said winging it. I don't know if you know the story between me and Linda.
No.
When we bought the first Market Center Garden City, I told her, the only way I'm doing this is if you're the team leader. She agreed to it. So after we buy it, we sit down in our office, and she goes, all right, what do we do now? And I looked at Linda and I said, we wing it. And she almost shit her pants. She was looking at me like, are you crazy right now? And I started laughing. She wasn't. But in the first year, we won it. It was just, we had to. We didn't know what we were
You have to
doing.
get into action.
Yeah, we didn't know.
It's like being a parent. You're never ready to be a parent. So that's our baby, and that's what we did.
We figure it out as we go
Exactly.
along, and then systems and structures go into play, and we did pretty good.
Obviously.
We did okay. Yeah, but I think you're right. You got to wing it. So year one, you wing it. You're going, you're going at different lengths, and you're going not all over the place, but you're trying to get everything together. What was the first year like financially like? Was it rough? Was it?
How was it?
And was you guys with Keller at this time? Or?
We've always been with Keller.
Oh, so
Me
you and him were
Rafael, we've always
Keller.
been with Keller. Actually, he had just come over to Keller. He was supposed to buy one of the market centers
That's
with
right.
you. So it was literally right at that round time. Let me see. I can't even remember. I don't think it was bad. I had just moved back. Remember, I just moved back from LA. So I took my mom's house, and I didn't have to be paying a mortgage. So I guess if it was stressful,
You were good on that.
Yeah, I didn't feel it. But
it wasn't the numbers today.
No. It was not the numbers today. But it was more of the learning curve was better because I was learning as opposed to money-wise. And then that was my base. You need to learn how to add before you divide.
Sure.
And without that, I wouldn't be where I am today. I mean, I'm very grateful for those first 2 years. I mean, we've made mistakes with hiring people. There were people who stayed on the team way too long. And once I found the right person to run our team, as in the admin side, it was a game changer. And I found her by completely accident. And when I saw her, I wanted her for myself, but I was like, that's selfish. She needs to be on the admin. And it was the best decision we could have made.
Well, and so that was in what year?
This was about a year ago.
A year ago.
A year, yeah. We waste. Wow. Yeah, I don't want to say we wasted because everything is a learning curve. But if we would have done that change sooner, which I wanted to, but Rafael has the biggest heart.
He does, yep.
And sometimes that can be against. I'm like, this is a business. I'm a very business mind person. I'm first, work with you before I'm your friend. And I have to look at the numbers. I mean, I've been told many times, you are a totally different person when it comes to business and to a friend.
Well,
and
it's a good thing, though.
It's a very good thing, but a lot of people don't know how to do that.
I
Now,
appreciate that.
keep that in mind that I have my best friend and I've had my partner in my team, and I have to lead them. And that's a very difficult thing to do. But you have to be able to be like, these are our numbers. We're not hitting them. Why are we not hitting them? So
how do you do that? Because I struggle with the same thing. Because you can't manage people, right? You got to lead them, just like you said. You're leading people. So how do you lead your best friend? How do you lead, people in that way? Because they're gonna always feel that friendship's coming before. So
exactly.
How do you do it?
So this is a conversation I have with my MAPS coach all the time, and she goes, "You have to understand that you have to take your friend hat off, and now be like, these are the numbers." So she said to me, "You have to tell her, just talk about the numbers. Just be like, what are your numbers?" So our new system is every one-on-one that I have with everybody in my team is just to go over the 411. There's no going around it. Did you hit your 411 or you didn't? So if you didn't, why didn't you? And what are we going to do? And that's it. And then you move on because there's no BSing. There's no, no, the numbers are in the
Numbers
pudding,
don't
right?
lie.
Exactly.
Sure.
So that is something that we're making a change for next year. We started this week, and Rafael's guiding me through it because the 411 was something that I couldn't get a hand on. But finally, we're doing it. And I think that's going to be the best way to do it, to just talk about the numbers, and that's it. You didn't hit the numbers. You didn't hit the numbers. What are you going to be asking me? I don't want to care. I don't want to know why you didn't. You just didn't hit them. How are we going to hit them next week? And I mean, with you it might be different because you don't just talk. Well, you do talk a lot about numbers, but that's you got it. That's the best way to do it.
My meetings are just what you have.
Just numbers. Yeah.
Numbers. We had one Friday, and it was just okay. These are the numbers. You know, obviously there was one number where I'm not going to say who or what, but it was high. But something else was low. Well, okay, then you either are really bad at your job, which you haven't been your whole life, or you're lying to me.
Yeah,
It's exactly. One of the numbers don't lie.
Exactly.
It's just, you know, well, they can't be. No, it just doesn't happen that way. It's numbers.
Yeah.
You know, they don't. You know, they're not false. They're numbers. So one or the other. But I run it the same exact way. And Rafael came to me a while ago asking me just that, and he said to me, "How do you run something, you know, as large as you have it? How did you get it that way?" And it's basically, like you said, focusing on the numbers.
Right.
And if you focus on that, there's
That's
no
it.
arguing it. It's the numbers. The numbers are the numbers. You know.
But
Again,
if you tell me, would I do it again? Will I work with people that I have close relationships with? The answer is no. I won't do it. I won't do it. I run a business with my father, and I run a business with my mother. The difference is that, in a way, they're my parents. Even though we're partners, I'm still kind of like looking up to them. And I would never, ever, ever, ever want to let either one of those people down. So my work ethic is completely different. And if I don't help you, you're not going to produce, right? So something that I've had to learn is that people don't think like me. And that is something that I struggle with all the time. I say, why don't you just do it what I'm telling you? And people are like, my coach says, people don't listen when you tell them what to do. You have to tell them why it works. And that's what I struggle with every day.
It's frustrating.
It's extremely frustrating. Like, just do it. I'm telling you, I am a product of what works, and people still don't do it. So, but when it comes to me being under somebody else, like, I would never want to let Rafael down. And it's just, we invested so much time that I can't. Like, I even go, if you ever want to leave, let me know. Like, you think I'm just going to pick up and leave one day? No, like, I can't. That's not how I am.
Yeah, I'm rolling that way.
Yeah.
It's different today's age. But it's so funny you said that. I was thinking about this this weekend, is how to pour into more of the people that are working with you. Because, again, you're right. Numbers don't lie, but I also look at it, what am I doing wrong in that scenario where they are struggling? So what do you have to do? How do you pour into them more? Can you pour into them any more than you already are? And it's interesting hearing it from your angle, right, where it's even on a team level, which I assumed it was, but it's the same exact thing.
Same thing.
It's the same exact thing, running, holding meetings with people, and accountability.
Accountability
is everything that goes into our world, and it's amazing. So, all right, so you and Rafael, you start your year off 2025. What does it look like? What are you looking to accomplish in 2025? So, you said
64, yeah, something like that. Yeah, that should be the number.
Let's stay off of the number for a second. Do you go over like personal goals with your team too?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, the thing is, we do a Life by Design, right? And everybody's numbers in October, everybody hands in their Life by Design, and we go, okay, this is the amount of deals that you need to make this amount of money. And that's how I'm supposed to hold them accountable to that number. So, for example, I'm supposed to have at least 4 deals a month, right? And to make that, you have to make $250,000 practically. So if I don't hit those 4 deals, then I'm going to be behind my goals.
So 4 deals is going to get you $250,000.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's
co-ops we're talking about.
Co-ops and homes.
Okay.
Yeah, both. The co-ops are supposed to give you that oomph, right? So even if I have 1 or 2 co-ops, that's great. But however, for the rest of the team, it's going through every single thing. 411s, they have to literally tell me their numbers that they do every day. I have to hold them accountable for everything. We have our one-on-one. We have the morning huddle in the morning. Like, it's a lot. It's a lot.
So take me through your morning huddle. What's that like? Like again, you don't have to tell me your
No,
morning
yeah,
huddle.
right.
But what does that mean to most
So
people?
at 9:30, each person in my team. Right now, I have 4 agents. Right. So right now we do one a day where we do a role play. Tell me what objection you're having a problem with. Everybody's in the meeting, and they'll be like, "I have a problem with people not wanting to sign." So we'll run through it, and everybody learns. The reason why I do it that way is because everybody's listening, and people learn and pick up from what other people are saying.
Sure.
Right. And it saves me time. I'm all about time.
Yep.
Right after that, we go into the morning huddle. And that is like, okay, what questions do we have? It shouldn't be more than 15. I'm having issues with this. Okay, boom, 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 and we're done. Then everybody should start prospecting at 10, right? So we do 10 to 12. And then you start prospecting for new business. Now, for me, it's a little bit different because I have team meetings. I have to be looking for talent. I have to be answering questions, not only for my buyers, but for my buyers' agents.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, you're supposed to have in your calendar. We're really big on calendar. We all share our calendar. We have to be transparent. And at the end of the calendar should be either you're showing, and if you're not showing, then you should be making calls in the evening.
How accurate is that? Is your calendar?
I want to say Rafael is probably a 90%. For me, it's probably 85%. For the rest of the team, probably under 50%.
Wow.
It's something that we struggle with because we're not used to it. And the learning curve. Now, the people who are really green, like we have a monk, an ex-monk in our team, and we have Rafael's son who is really young. So they don't know any better. They don't know anything else. So we throw them right in there, and they're getting better. And those two are the best they can be at their calendar right now. The other, the older agents, they're still, working with it. They don't understand. If it's not in your calendar, it doesn't exist. I don't move without looking at my calendar.
So interesting. Were you always like that?
No, it's not. But I mean, my day was like you showed up to set and you were there on set all day, right? Like I didn't need a calendar. I was just on set.
So now let me ask you this, just to talk about calendar a little bit. Lead gen 10 to 12. 11 o'clock, somebody gets a listing appointment on that lead gen. Mm-hmm. Do they stop lead gen or do they go to, like if they say come over immediately?
Well, that would be Rafael. And I can answer that because he says no. I'll try to make it for afterwards. Now, unless I know that I can move it, he will. But he's very purposeful, extremely purposeful with his calendar.
So he's like me where, nope, my calendar.
Exactly, yeah. Mm-hmm. And everybody knows, like, I had my phone on Do Not Disturb, and I had this investor. He goes, Renatta, you got to be the only person that I know that can afford to have their phone on Do Not Disturb. And I was like, I'm prospecting. It was at 11 o'clock. He goes, you know what? I respect that. And I only answered that phone call because I knew he wanted to go see a certain house. So, but other than that, I would have sent them to, voicemail or text.
Okay, so you do your morning huddle. Mm-hmm. And now what's after that?
So we're supposed to take breaks. We encourage people to put breaks and put them in their calendar. So after they prospect for new business, they have to do their follow-ups for their tasks. So we don't use Command because Command is not as team-friendly, so we've been using Brivity. We're trying to make the transition, but it's just not working yet. But they have to call all their leads that they have to follow up. We do 10 days of pain. So when we get a lead, we get on average 3 to 5 leads per day.
Wow.
That's a lot.
That is.
Right? But that doesn't mean that they're all good.
Correct.
But people don't answer the phone right away, so we put them on a plan for 10 days, 10 days of pain. We call them back to back 10 days. And if
That's
after
text, email.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
It's automated.
Phone
The call will Brivity will say call them, and then after the 10 days, if they have an answer, we put them on inactive and they go on a 36 touch.
Awesome.
Yeah. So we're very organized when it comes to that. So after you do that, you can take your break. And like I said, in the evening, you can either go show or you can also put in their buyer's consultations. Most people are free after 5 o'clock. So they want to do it after that. Very few do you do, 12, 10 a.m. in the morning. Either you show, you prospect, or you do buyer's consultations.
Okay. And then, all right, so you got that out. What can improve in 2025, if anything, with that system? What are you looking to change?
Well, so one of the main things that we need is an ISA, which is a person that's just making outbound calls for the buyers and for the buyer's agents and for Rafael and the listing manager, because we just want to get those leads that are ready, willing, and able. We don't want to be doing the 10 days of pain. However, finding an ISA has been one of the most difficult things.
Why is that?
I have no idea. People don't like the phones. When we hire people overseas, they'll clock in, but they're not making the calls. And unfortunately, we've lost a lot of money because of that. We've caught it late in the game, and we're like, okay, you're not doing the work because we weren't getting the leads. Now, we do have to give out part of our commission to that lead ISA. And at the beginning, everybody was like, what? No. But we weren't even getting good leads because people weren't. It's hard to train somebody.
I had a good ISA at one point, and it's well worth it.
It is.
Oh my God,
I
it's
know.
so well worth it.
If I just have to get on the phone and do on Zoom and do buyer's consultations, so I'll be like, and then show and then send buyer's agreements, that would be amazing.
25%,
Take the 10%, not even 10%.
10%, whatever it is.
Take it. It's a numbers game.
That's all it is. Yeah, you're right. 10%. That's right. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's
So
insane.
that's our main goal. 11 agents on the buyer's side. Now I have to literally hire 22 because our retaining number is 50%. So like
How do you get better at that?
just keep on going on career vision and keep on doing the KPAs. They keep on telling you to do 1 KPA a day. I think I would die if I have to do one. It's a lot of time consuming. Yeah. I cannot, like right now when I get back to my phone, I can only see all the calls and things that I'm going to get. So for me to be like business or KPA, but I have to get out of that mind state and say, listen, doing that KPA is going to get you more agents, going to get you more money. So it's just practicing.
So now, with that hiring process, are you also looking from within to hire? Like, are you asking your agents that are already working with you, or you don't want that either?
So,
because I found difficulty with that.
It is. So if they have problems calling their leads, what makes me think that they don't get anything about getting new agents. If anything, they feel or think like they're going to lose business, but they're not going to. I don't want them to bother with that. So that's all me. All I ask for them is at the open houses, give me the cards that come in, and then Rafael and I will call them.
If needed, if they're good. And then, okay, so you got all of that established. What else is your goals like for 2025? What else can you see that's going to build your team to get to that 264 transactions? What else do you need?
Okay, so like I said, Rafael has a
And then,
very...
I'm sorry to cut
ahead.
you off there real quick. This is important. On that 264, what's the structure like, or what does it look like? How many buy side, how many sell side?
Oh my God, Rafael's going to kill me. I don't know I can't remember the top number on my side. My side is a lot bigger.
Okay. 180?
No, it's more.
Okay.
It's
200.
more than half, yeah. It's more than half for the buyer side, yeah.
Okay. So let's say 180, 190.
Okay,
Right?
let's
Because
just
it's
say that.
260, right? So you're doing, that's 11 agents. So you're looking at basically on 11 agents, 10, around 12 each?
Almost. So an experienced agent should do 2 per month. So that's 24. And then a new agent can do a minimum of 1 at 11.
Okay.
Yes.
Makes sense.
So if you think about it for us, 2 deals a month is not that difficult. But we need the volume. But now I have to do 4. My next 2 agents, one has to do 3, the other one has to do 2, and the 2 new ones do 1 each. So,
That's right.
but if we divide that, and it will take a lot of stress off me. I can make a side income just from coaching them. But at the same time, if they don't produce, then I get frustrated on my side because it's what do? Do I coach you or do I call my client? So it becomes a thing where we need to get better organized and really, really work on finding the agents.
So is it, and this is a silly question, I guess, because it's probably a combination of both. Is it, what's more important? Is the lead more important or the agent at that point? Do we want more agents or do we need better leads?
There's no such thing as better leads.
Okay.
Because if you know what to say and how to do it and follow the systems and be consistent, you will get that lead. And it doesn't mean the problem is that I think a lot of agents got very comfortable with the low hanging fruit during COVID, and a lot of my agents came in around COVID. So it's like we were getting leads like this, and we were converting them. We weren't even doing buyer's consultations. Now you have to put the work. If anybody that calls you at some point is going to buy a property, whether it's now in 3 months
Great way to look
or
at it.
it's going to be in a year.
Yep.
So if that person doesn't give you business, and if you call them and tell them, hey, listen, I know you're not looking anymore, or you found something, but if you know somebody that wants to buy a house, blah, 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 right? The whole speech. So it's not the lead. There's no such thing as a bad lead. It's a relationship. It's how good the agent and how consistent they are.
Love it. Love that. So you're looking at it as a lead is just a relationship.
Yep.
And that's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then what does that look like? Because you just said it. Do you know anybody looking to buy or sell? Do you know the point? Do you have those numbers where the agent should get X amount of transactions because of those relationships from each buyer that they use?
Like how many transactions?
Or for each, everybody that buys a home from you, how many transactions should should your team get from that?
So, so a lot of my business is open houses and referrals. I cannot say that all the referrals are mine. Most of them are from Rafael because he's been around longer. So
But a lot of past clients.
a lot of past clients, like we've sold them, co-ops, and now we're buying them a house and whatnot. I want to say that on average, probably 2. The deal of the person, and then if they return or they refer us to somebody else. Rafael has had like 3, 4 returning with the same client.
How about Keller Williams referrals to you guys? Because that was a big part of my business. Because I would go out and reach all the Keller Williams agents out there, and I had all those great relationships.
Yeah,
And I know Rafael has a lot of them.
He does. I learned from you when I was at the ALC that when you go to a family reunion, forget the classes, make the relationship. So I started that this year.
Okay.
I was very intentional. I've gone through so many conferences, and my relationships with people, not just Keller Williams, like banks and other realtors, it was a game changer. Because before I was like, no, I was just kind of like, just concentrate on my business, but this is part of my business.
True.
And so I'm going to be more purposeful to do that.
How many appointments you setting up for each day at family reunion? Are you looking to?
So I haven't done that yet, but that's my plan, to start figuring out who am I going to see, who am I going to talk to. To be honest, my best relationships are with banks.
Okay.
And banks fly me to where I have to go. Oh, and attorneys. So they fly me to where they sponsor all my conferences, all the things that I have to go. And that allows me to make connections with the realtors.
Yep.
So I'm part of the NARAB 2025 board of directors for marketing, and that alone is going to be a game changer.
That's awesome. And then what does that look like? How many do you do a year?
Of what?
Like conferences and.
So, oh my God, this year I think I've done 5.
Wow.
Megacam, Keller Williams, NARAB, Triple Play. I think 4. Yeah, 4 different.
What'd you like? You like Triple Play this year? Or? It was different.
It was more of the relation. I went to one class that class alone was worth it, but I went there with an attorney, and I went with a bank, and that, like, they know a lot of people because they've been networking for so long, and they were introducing me to everybody. So that was the good thing about that.
It's funny. Every Triple Play I've been to, I've never been to a class.
Yeah.
Still, I've been doing it 15 years now, 16 years. I've never been in the building.
Really?
I go down and network, and that's it. So,
that's the way to do it. But let me tell you something. I've been to Keller Williams Family Reunion, by far is my favorite. It's the one that you
no doubt.
So when I sit in other tables and have conversations, and I'm telling things that are so basic for me, at least in my team, and people are looking at me like I discover bread, and I, like, this is like our norm, and people are like, what, you do what, and how does that work? And I'm like, oh boy, we're like really ahead of the game.
It's also the way you do it too. I think with Kelly, because I always found this interesting where we're the only company that we go down and we hang out with our friends, right? So I mean, that's a good thing.
Yeah,
you go down and hang out, but why are you hanging out with the people you work with? You're with them all the time. Why aren't you going down to meet other people? It's amazing to me how many people are staying in the same place, the same location, getting to meet at the same time. You're going to breakfast, lunch, dinner with that person.
Yep.
You could do that at home.
Yeah.
Why are you doing it there?
Exactly.
So I don't know why you're not meeting other people and talking, setting them up beforehand. I said this week. It was funny because I actually did a study on this. It was just freaking hysterical with shit that I do. The people that you invite to have like coffee with, I said, just for the fact that they're going to buy coffee because they're going to beat you there.
Yeah.
It's worth it. You get free coffees just at the meetings.
True.
So do it.
Yeah.
It's so funny when you invite somebody. They're usually the ones asking you first, what do you want to drink? So
Right.
You get a free coffee or whatever out of it. And you get so many more relationships because, again, the referrals are going to come your way. I was just talking to a cat over the weekend. We were at a party together, and he's in Keller Williams up in upstate New York. And he was telling me, since he came over, how many referrals he's got because I told him to reach out to Keller Williams agents. And he's been doing pretty good with that from what I've heard.
Yep.
And he's got an amazing business too. I'm going to have him on one day. I don't want to mention his name because he didn't tell me to mention it. So
That's fine.
But it's so interesting in our company how large it is that we can get so much business just out of our world, and not too many people are using it. Okay, so 264 transactions. What else are our goals for 2025?
Well, we want to first be able to nail that number before we get even bigger. Eventually, Rafael wants to become just an investor, and I would move to CEO. That's my goal, right? Get out of production, and just my dream would be to just travel the world and be able to coach people from wherever the hell I am. Like, that's like my thing. Like, I could definitely do that and get on board with that. And eventually is have a hub in Brooklyn, one in like our team to be able to expand up to New Jersey.
I'm just going to ask you that. What's
Yeah.
your expansion look like?
That's our goal. But we got to nail home first.
Where are you now?
In Greater Nassau.
And what else? Because you're doing Brooklyn too, right?
Yeah, so we have one of our agents is from Brooklyn, yeah. But
Okay.
he's very new, so he hasn't started like getting listings or anything. We do get listings in Brooklyn, and we all go there, so it's not necessarily our first one or
Just
anything.
not seasoned.
Yeah, he's just in Brooklyn.
He's learning.
Mm-hmm.
And, how do you think that transition's going with him? Is it good or?
Um,
Like when you're doing that expansion, how hard is that?
It's just like everything is finding the right talent, people who want to commit. It's very scary because I've had conversations with people. Oh, well, what leads are you getting me? Or like you have, like I said, it's not about the numbers, it's your mindset. And that is the most difficult thing to find nowadays. People are really stuck on the split. And I'm like, if I can cap in 3 months in the split that I have, and I can make you do that. No. So we changed our tactic, and Rafael said, he goes, stop trying to sell the team. He goes, you don't need to sell it.
You don't. No.
Like, and then there's people who are trying to like knock down our doors to like talk to us, but a lot of people don't know that we're looking for people, which I don't know how. I guess we put our energy in other things and not in marketing ourselves, which that's a thing that my coach tells me. She goes, you got it. You don't have to say anything. You've been top buyer's agent. You've been, capping. Like, you do all these things, and it's like it should just come to you. And I don't know if I just have a mean face.
No, get out of here. It's funny you said that with the splits and all of that, because when I was running my team and people laugh at it, you're gonna make $150,000.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of my things. How much am I gonna make? You're gonna make roughly around $150,000
Mm-hmm.
if you work and you do everything I say and work the way I ask you to work, and that's one open house a weekend. So and such hours in lead gen. Well, what's my split? Doesn't matter what you're going to make $150,000. This is what it is. Well, what's my split? 99.1. Oh, I'm getting 99%. No, you're getting 1%. It doesn't matter.
Right, right.
You're going to make this. What else do you want? And this is the amount of time you're going to do it. They don't get it until they're in it. And then it's funny with agents like that, where they're so fresh and they don't see. Again, you got so much competition out there telling these people what they want to hear. Also, then when it's coming from you, they don't believe you, and they're going to believe the outside because they want to trust them and they want it to be easy, but they don't realize that it is. And it's there's so much shit that goes into what we do that they don't appreciate. What else? Because we got to wrap it up soon. I'm definitely going to have you back. We got a lot more to talk about. I want you and Rafael on the same time.
that would be
great.
cool.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. I think I could start a fight there.
Oh my God, I don't know.
I doubt it. But what else can we see coming from you in 2025?
Well, we definitely want to. I don't know if he said 2025 or 2026, but we want our own storefront. And I think you've had a conversation with him as well. To make it, we have actually agents. One of our agents is from New Jersey.
Awesome.
And she has to, come across the bridge, pay tolls, and then we have Brooklyn, and then a lot of us in Long Island. But we want more of a central area where we can all come to. So around Fresh Meadows, that's because we farm Jamaica Estates and Briarwood. So that's one of our goals. That's a very important goal. I think everybody will feel everybody will produce better or more if they came to the office. You can tell the difference in the numbers when people come into the office. But again,
I agree.
if it's costing you $44 to cross to you got to do the numbers, right? And if you're not producing a lot,
Then with this $15 charge, whatever it's going to be.
yeah,
$9
exactly.
charge.
No, it's just it doesn't make sense, and we get it. So that's one of our goals, to have our own storefronts. Obviously, staying with Keller Williams. Rafael has no intention, and we just had this conversation of becoming an abroad. Why? Why? I love the education, and then grow our team to hit our numbers for sure in 2025. We have to first concentrate our one thing. That's our one thing. We can't do anything else until we hit our numbers.
Are you looking to take your coaching a little bit more?
Yes,
Seriously,
so
what are you
I
looking to do on that?
definitely have to pour more into my buyer's agents, because I have to remember, again, people don't think like me, and I have to be there for them, even if I have to repeat things more than once, and my coach is amazing. And she's like me. She's a Heidi. She goes, I get it. I'm inside your head. But in order for this to work, you got to do this. And like I said, if you tell me, do this, I will do it. And I don't know anybody who is like that besides me and Rafael. So it's kind of like we're trying to clone ourselves. Like even my son just got his license. And he's like, I tell him, and I'm like, listen, I know he's still going to school. He St. John. So it's not his priority. But I'm like, listen, if you sell 3 houses, but his goal is to buy a house by the time he graduates college.
That's pretty cool.
He's like on a whole other level. So I think that he will be coachable like me. But again, like just because he's my son doesn't mean he's going to be like me. But I'm honestly trying to clone myself. And it's been very difficult.
Good luck with that. Special type of person. So, anything you want to add?
Nothing. If you want to join a top producing team, you give me a call.
Where did they call you?
You're going to call. No, well, you can find me at Let's Buy a House, LEZBUYHOUSE. So you find me there, or you can come to my office. I'm always there. I'm always there Monday to Friday.
There you are.
So,
first office right by the desk.
Yes, you can't miss me with a big rainbow flag in the front.
And a dog usually.
And a dog, yes. Just knock on the door because otherwise.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. Happy holidays. Love you and look forward to what you're going to do in 2025.
Thank you so much. See you soon.